Good morning from New York. I hope the sound is going to be working better. I apologize that sometimes the sound isn't consistent. I have to use filters because it's a noisy place where I'm at. And sometimes the filters filter don't even hear, my voice gets too low. Okay, maybe some classes in speaking. Um I hope this friendly introduction doesn't cause you to think I have nothing to say. Today, singing and speaking within your mind, a communication, a wild ride into the arms of your inner artist, core heart of the progressive mind. Finding and experiencing an empathetic and feeling aware communication from which a progressive love lifts as with a tide of love all humankind, no matter what boat or country they are in. This supports the virtues of loving, progressive caring. Care, which is our artfulness, truth, goodness, and faith in humanity, which Kamala Harris embodies. Oh, slid that right in on you, right? It's no good to be good all by yourself. They have loving communication just inside you. You've got to bring that into the world. It's a completion. In the process of doing that, you understand that how when you're talking to people, you are talking to who you imagine they are. And a lot of times not really paying attention to the clues. That's not good communication. But it's true that we always communicate within our imagination, whether we're talking to people in real life or uh, within ourselves. And so, I wow, this is, as I promised, a wild ride. All of the small details. Um, so go crazy with me for a little while. And remember, wisdom also looks crazy to people who are not reflective enough or are too convinced that they are right all the time. Yeah. So, music itself is healing. That's just something we've known for a long time. And creating your own music is very powerful. We know that, they've studied this. And so, one of the things that we do as a practice in inner mind communication, the loving mystic road to better communication, um, is creating sound. And getting past language helps you drop into an egoless state where you are more flexible, like a baby, open to new things, right? To a different you, possibly, and maybe a more caring, loving you. And it's a long journey, and there's overlap with this process, and you know, certain kinds of therapies for trauma. But this is a spiritual path, and its intent and aim is a little different. It is a path toward greater virtue. As I've said again and again, objective empathy gives us truth, that virtue. Um, Compassionate empathy gives us goodness. And creative empathy gives us artfulness. So I hope I said that right. Sometimes, like Trump, I do the we, an old mind. Objective empathy, truth. Creative empathy, artfulness, ability to see things from different perspectives. And compassionate empathy, goodness. These create a better love flow, which increases your faith in love, which is vital to your spiritual growth and health. I hope that my voice didn't go out during any of that presentation so far. Please let me know in the comments, if the video bombed in that way. I hate to put out junk, but it is what it is. The channel's growing. We would appreciate subscribers and commenters and sharing the videos that you find good. Okay. And I'm learning to project, okay, also. I tend to mutter sometimes. Oftentimes because of the things that are crossing my mind that that I know will upset somebody around. You kind of, it's a defensive thing. Yeah. There's there's the thing. A really spiritually ill mind will have a lot of trouble with objectivity, creativity, and compassion. If you're going to expand that, we tend to be, as human beings, as evolved apes, very tribalistic. That is not progressive. Progressive is becoming more loving, evolved apes. And good Lord, we could really use that around the world. But what I decided to do today was kind of show you a connection to the artist, which I've done before, and let you know that I'm biased. I'm coming from being raised basically very Christian, so I have that type of inclination, but I also have tried to experience many other religions and find value in all of them. But the greatest value is love. Yeah. I think that's said in the New Testament. Yeah, who said that? Somebody out there knows. Look it up. Put it in the comments. Anyway, and this is how this whole thing grew at some point in my life. We were trying to be more spiritual. Religion is something many of us have grown out of in pursuit of a higher, more direct experience of loving communication, which isn't about punishment and laws. It's the fulfillment of laws. You know, where many laws exist, their morality is weak. That's because they're putting in breaks, and they're trying to help people be good from the outside in. And Jesus had some things to say about that to the Sadducees and the Pharisees. The Sadducees who didn't believe in a lot of the wilder claims of life after death and angels and things what the Pharisees did, you know, but they were both groups of people that wanted to change people by force, by law, by legal systems. And Jesus referred to that. He said he came to fulfill law and the prophets, right? And that fulfillment is love. And so that's the path of the mystic. Boom. Krishna said some similar things. Buddha said some similar things. I find that very interesting. Muhammad, may peace be upon him, said some similar things. We need to quit fighting about the fingers we used to point at the moon of love and enlightenment, and start looking directly. And that means creating empathetic and feelingly aware communication. The value of what I call the infant mind is that it's egoless. You're open, like I said before. So the path that is just quite natural, there's the artist within, the imaginer of all you imagine. And someone who's training you in this takes on that role and helps you to imagine your own inner counselor, your own inner caregiver, and get you in touch with your infant mind. That's it. And with various techniques. As the Buddha said, you can say you have a way, but you can't say you have a way, you have the only way. That guy was smart, huh? Yeah, you think? So here's the deal. Let's just start it off with the ability to be at play. There are three things in the infant mind: the ability to be at play with feeling, the ability to express feeling, and the ability to focus on feeling. Very vital to the needs, getting the needs met for the infant. So we got to get out of language. First step, get out of it. And there's a way of speaking with sound that isn't a language on purpose that tends to break free of the chains of language and all of the perspectives that it gives. And language is where people get their ego concept, usually enforced by society that taught them the language. And you are not that person. That's what was forced upon you. You are so much more, so much more wonderful. You're beautiful. You're part of life. And doggone it, you're just a really good person inside. Having a hard time in a very difficult universe. But learning to love. So how do we do this? I'm just going to demonstrate it. İrunayin nasare, anamin şorukarunahin, amin, amin. Arşutuyurun yeluha, ilakasiruahi, amin. Ah. Ah. Ah. In this process, there's a healing element. That was an expression of the negative feelings that connect to need that needs to be met, that wasn't met. And so there's a healing there involved with, and that was the practice of expressing feeling, which I have taught using ah, ooh, or similar sounds that can be elongated, and doing it with a feeling awareness of how you are emotionally at the moment, and how your senses are telling you you are doing. Now, when I was singing like that, I was also connecting to the feelings inside, and I was using focus. Even with the AU, there's still the focus there. The focus on feeling and sensation drops the ego. Expressing needs and feelings without words drops the ego. And being playful with sound drops the ego and begins to connect you to a language expression, to language communication. And it's there in that realm that you have a communion with your inner artist, the imaginer of all you imagine, the one above time, able to appreciate the story of your life as a great story. So, in heaven, so to speak, above time, timeless, an imagined timelessness. And from that, the artist in you creates a sense of who you are, creates reaches into your future as your counselor, into your past and remembrances as your caregiver, and also into your present at the same time, present to future, present to past, and sitting above that whole drama and speaking to you, um, creating memories, creating experiences for you. So that's what was happening there. Sometimes you need a little sound to express your feelings. And can be loud or it can be soft. Depends on how you're feeling. And feeling what you're feeling is a good thing. And the ability to feel what you're feeling in a reflective way is comforting. Everything in this approach is an attempt to comfort you. It's not an attempt to give you pain. But it is, in mythological terms, in the words of Jesus, taking up your cross. He that does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. I haven't heard very many preachers talking about that. But unless you go into the times when your faith was in love was damaged, you can't grow. You have to deal with that. You have to overcome it. That's part of the lessons of love that you have in your life. You come away from that stronger and a more powerful lover. So now I'm gonna break this down as I go forward so that you can understand everything. And if there are any questions, please ask them. If you have a different way, let us know. There are a lot of ways to communicate within yourself. And look out for mean, punishing kinds of communication. You don't want to do that in your mind. That's something that's been forced on you by adverse conditions and deprivations, etc. Don't let that rule you. Now, this song also blended with some attempts at speaking. Music evolved first. Musical expression evolved first in us as we became the in the wiser ape-like creature that we are. That was the evolutionary beginning. Was music. After that, language began to develop. You're going in that direction. You're evolving as you do this practice. You're going back through and with greater capacity to cope with what's inside you. Now, follow me. Follow the path of the mystic, and have faith and love. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, and he will open the door. Hey, I'll come in and have dinner with you. Mhm. We'll have a real good conversation. Yeah. Well, that Paramatma, that higher self, which was from the beginning, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. That beginning, that past, present, and future embracing origin of all life, that's what the mystic is. And when you have that kind of communication that you are the mystic, you have become one with the mystic, and the mystic is one with the divine. What is the divine? It's love. You want to add something supernatural to it? Well, that's up to you. There's some evidence for that, um, but not tremendously solid. But yeah, there's some things that we just don't understand in near-death experiences, for instance. But a lot of which can be easily explained, as gone into before. But some of the paranormal seeming things harder to work around that, you know. So, but does that prove that there's an afterlife? Well, no. But it does hint at it, doesn't it? Let me know in the comments what you think. Big wide world, and a lot of people with a lot of thoughts, and we'd really love to hear yours. If you want to make fun of the presentations that we make here, that's fine too. Laughter is good medicine. Try to do a good job of it. Make me laugh. I look at my face and I want to laugh. Wow. That old age hit me like a freight train right in the face. That's the artist in me laughing. Make the connection. It's up above the drama. And then that connects to humor. So let's go on with the presentation. Hirunayana satiram absuru karahen manahem. Amen. Amen. Amen. Rahindaro Sudkuru Mahindarahinai. Unsuruguru Naim Dasriti Kanmah. Isharu Kurunahim Darasagel. Afin Namast. Dar. Shah. Arim Karahalamestin and Amin Head. Kurua. Amen. Now imagine the voice of the artist. The artist always invites you to heaven. Now the voice of the artist. Now the voice of the artist. Come sit beside me, high above all your troubles. Let us sing and dance together. All of your troubles that you are so overwhelmed with, are part of a drama that itself is a wonderful story. Rise up, hero. Be a voice of love. Have a progressive mind. Progress toward love is important. Come sit beside me. I put my arm gently over your shoulders. I call you friend. He's here. Whenever you need me, I'm here. Anytime you need to hang out, I'm your very best friend. I do not give you judgment. I give you love. Thank you. You can respond. Thank you so much. Notice that a story was given from your inner artist in this case, or it can be a story, an experience in your imagination that can have the impact of a real experience. And who knows, maybe it is. Now, into the practical matters, as the more dramatic self in you, the kid, the emotional part of you, turn toward your inner counselor. The one, the inner counselor is the artist positioned into your future, guiding you. And you need to follow that inner counselor, an arm of the loving artist into your future. There you express your feelings to your inner artist. Wow. Sometimes it just feels like the whole world is against me. It's you that's the kid in me, right? Some refer to that as the little you and the big you. So, yeah. Big Mitch, I'm having a real hard time. Things are not going very well. I still see the artist dancing. I have rest when I need it. But the road ahead, hard for me to figure out. Well, your inner counselor can then respond. Well, little Mitch, I understand empathy. I understand. And it's okay, you've been through what you've been through. It's kind of confusing. Just start with simple things, small things you can accomplish. Build up your confidence. You can see how this is part of the action of a therapist, for instance, if they're using this as therapy, they're your inner artist and function as your inner counselor, to help strengthen your own inner counselor. Just aim for small achievements and be consistent. Just keep pushing. I'm waiting for you. What you achieve in life may come at a price, but if you do it with love, you will be the victor. Now, for deeper sorts of feelings, like having to do with the present and into the past, deeper emotional feelings from the present looking into the past, when you go to communicate with your caregiver, you're, in this case, switching roles in this way. Um, when you talk to people you imagine that you should care about or who you do care about, and then you're talking to them, you're being the inner caregiver. When you're talking to people who should care about you or who do care about you, you are being the kid, the child, your inner child. And this, I mean, you just see what pops into your mind. Who do you need to talk to? Who is that? Mom, there was a lot that I didn't understand you were going through when I was little. I appreciate you trying to care for me, even though you were hurting so bad. I thank you for that. And I want you to know that I forgive you for anything, and hope in your heart you can forgive me. Dad, sometimes I thought you were very cold, but I understand now why you would be that way. And I want you to know that I understand your lack of affection, how you could be so judgmental at times. I understand that, and I hope you know that I love and forgive you. And I hope that I can take you as a lesson to how I love my children. I won't give the names of my children. There are two of them. You know, kids, I wasn't always affectionate, loving father I had hoped to be, and I don't expect anything from you in return. Uh, I want you to know that. I want you to know that I want the very best for you, even if that means you have to live far away from me and you're too busy to call. And what is the value of all of this? Yeah. Well, there's a healing going on there. It's not any one particular explosive moment necessarily. Could be, but it affects how we. All of these kinds of communication affect um, you in the sense that you're learning greater empathy and awareness. Each of the practices have value in and of themselves. As I think you might be ascertaining by this time. Um, my partner in crime, who's also a mystic, helps with this channel and more from the political side, um, pushing for progressive love in politics. And like to say that Kamala is very much demonstrates all of these capacities for empathy and her ability for objectivity, creativity, and compassion are very strong. She's, somebody who's hurting a lot, friends. They are, well, that's Trump. He's hurting a lot. He's, the more hurt you are, the more self-centered you're going to be. It's just the way it is. People can't help it. They suffer from it. Maybe they take to this spiritual path at some point and, uh, come out of that. But no judgment here. Punishing attitudes, they don't get us anywhere. I don't wish any harm to anyone. And putting Trump into a prison and giving him a harsh remainder of his life is not something this country is worthy of doing. We're bigger than that. I would say that he probably needs to be confined to a mental institution for a while and given some help. And if he's continuing with his antics, which have caused a great deal of harm along the way, and a threat to democracy, then he needs to be kept there, but not out of hateful, punishing feelings toward it. But that goes for everyone, The most heinous acts created by a human being should not cause us to be as heinous. Um, They have value. Someone who's very fallen, they have value. What happened to them? Why are they that way? They are an opportunity to study and to learn. They're an opportunity to love unconditionally. That doesn't mean that you trust them. Trust is earned. But it does mean that you're not unkind. When you're talking about immigrants, it's a pretty low blow to take a few people in any group that have done something terrible and say that's the way this group is. And anybody with a moment of thought know better than that. And that's what Trump is pushing around. He is. He should never be anywhere near the White House. Never. He tried to overthrow the government and creating false equivalence between the Democratic Party at this point and the Republican Trump Party is just another way of promoting hatefulness and fear as motivational go-tos for a great nation. Our nation is not great because it's fearful and angry, because it can bully people. It's great because of its love and its embrace. Why we're a beacon in the world is because we have people of different religions and different points of view, and they're all together. And when there's a disaster, they come together and they help each other. It's kind of childish and kind of ape-like, tribalistic to not be able to handle somebody looking a little different than you. It's seemingly easy to do. And, it's so painful for me to look at a world where I was just watching something on the internet about what they call black people. What's black? It's the same pigment, isn't it? Greater or lesser degrees. That's my understanding. Am I wrong? But I don't think anybody's black, white, green, yellow, or whatever. They have deeper and lesser tans, so to speak. But people who are dark skinned are, and people who are foreigners are not welcome in a lot of countries. They're not welcome at all. We are more welcoming, but we need to work on that, not be led by people like Trump. But they're not very welcoming, and that's really sad. That's really sad. As wilder days is. I've been with people of every shade, you know, and sadly, very sadly, I could possibly have children who are not white and do not know about it. So well, that's something to think about, when you're young, and to think about consequences. And this kind of communication, had I been practicing it then, I might not have allowed myself to be ruled by strong forces within. So, this choice is yours. You can either be the mystic in your life, the one in charge, or you can just be the sheet blown in the wind, at the mercy of every emotion that you have, every fear, every angry thought, or every certainty, or you can rise above it. Embrace your inner artist. Live the life of the mystic. Open your arms as the inner artist, not just to yourself, but to everyone and all of life. And be willing to fall into those arms, into a place of no time. I hope this is helpful to you. If it is, leave it in the comments. Remember, this is a channel that's striving to have many voices. And hopefully, we will have more Zoom calls with more people. But you have to stay on topic. All right? We don't get together for chit chat. The world is in peril, and we need to support loving communication, not just in one country, but in every country. This is a channel for all the world. Feel free to translate everything in these videos into whatever language you want, to take the processes that I demonstrate and use them. Like with Linux, where the code is open for anyone to jump in and help fix or improve. And that's what I'm using right now. I really think Linux is a beautiful thing. You should check it out. Go to Switch to Linux and get started. That is a more loving, progressive approach called open source. And it's not much of a far leap between open source and open heart. And not far from that is a progressive mind. Remember that? And let's save the soul of America and support Kamala Harris. Taking a stand. We all have to. And afterwards, we can all still be friends. Till next time, may you find the wonder that you are.